Hi there. This post is very late today, and you probably realise you didn't get one at all yesterday. I am in the land of the living, not feeling 100%, but I'm managing. Normally on Maundy Thursday, people in church circles would be very busy. I would usually be going down to Lichfield Cathedral to renew my vows as an ordained priest and as a deacon, because I'm a deacon as well as a priest. It would be a time to collect holy oils from the cathedral, then race back to Mount and get the hall ready for an agape meal, a shared meal, where we would all share a bowl of lobby, or what other people would call stew, and some dessert. And in between that, we would share a service together. And I normally go around, and in the Bible, Jesus washed the disciples' feet. In our church, I actually wash the people's hands. It's a bit easier than trying to remove tights and shoes. And it always amazes me how intimate it feels to take a piece of soap and a bowl of hot water, to wash someone's hands, and then to dry them gently with a cloth. And I learn all sorts of things about people through their hands. I can feel the people who have worked hard with their hands for their career. I can work out which people are taking blood pressure tablets, believe it or not, because they nearly always have cold hands. I can feel the frailty of some hands, and I can feel the strength of others. And nearly always people will say, "Oh, that was so lovely." Of course, if I just scrubbed the soap on really quick and then swished it off and that was it possibly wouldn't be so lovely. But I take care and I take time to properly wash those hands, to make it as much an act of love as it is an act of hygiene. At this time in the life of our world, washing hands has never been so important. Now you can see I'm in my study, I'm self-isolating, and I'm not managing to stay in my bedroom, but we are trying to stay apart and being very careful, John and I, as to how close we sit to each other. We've got separate towels, we're living in separate bedrooms. But at the end of the day, it's the hand washing that's going to be so important. And I'm a nurse, or I was an ex-nurse, I'm an ex-nurse, and I know all about washing hands. And I've been washing my hands properly all my life, I thought. And yet when we have to spend 20 seconds, not one or two choruses of happy birthday to you in our house, it's one verse of joyful, joyful, we adore thee. And get a really good lather and wash between the fingers and round the thumbs, backs and fronts, fingertips and all. And then wash off that lather properly in hot water and dry your hands properly on a towel. Wow, the importance of hand washing is immense. I wonder what Jesus would be making of me if he was washing my hands now. What could he tell from my hands, or my feet for that matter? Well, if he was doing my feet, he'd tell that I've had an operation on them quite recently, because one of them's still very swollen with big scars. And if he was washing my hands, he would feel where the skin is chipped and torn. My hands get very sore in the winter. And most of us have got sore hands now because of hand washing and hand wash gel. But what would he tell about me? Would my hands feel like hands that do things? Or would they feel like hands that are well looked after with hand cream and don't bother to do much? Would he be able to read the scars and the cracked nails? What would he be reading on the hands of my daughter? who has macerated hands, as she calls it, because of all the hand washing and the wearing of latex gloves that she's having to do in hospital in her job. I think Jesus can tell everything he wants to about us, and actually he doesn't need to use our hands to do that. He knows us inside and out. He knows our fears. He knows our doubts. He knows that some of us may be praying when we don't actually believe. He knows that some of us may be praying and doubting whether he's listening. He knows that some of us are praying and wondering where on earth this is all going to end. We don't have to worry. We are worried, of course. We're worried about our families. We're worried about our loved ones, our friends. But ultimately, Jesus holds our hands and he walks with us through all this. Those hands of his which washed feet, and tomorrow on Good Friday we'll remember were stretched out and nails driven through them. Jesus knows our hands and he holds out his hands to us now and says, come, I'm here, I'm with you. God bless.